We are a few weeks away from the 2026 NFL draft finally happening. This is going to be my second to last mock draft I do on the channel. And it's going to be somewhat of like a GM edition one because usually my mock drafts, I'm predicting on who these teams would end up going with. Today, I want to make every selection on what I would do if I were on the clock. So yeah, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I'm sure a lot of you that will disagree with these picks will let me know in the comments below. But this is just kind of like what I would feel, what I would do going forward. I would love to know if you agree or disagree with me down below. And if you disagree, who would you take if that player was still on the board when I'm up with your favorite team? We will do an official mock draft about a week before the NFL draft actually happens. I'm still debating if I'm going to go live here on the channel for the draft, so let me know if you'd be interested in that. So number one, if I were on the clock, I think I would target Jeremiah Love for the raid. I'm kidding, right? It's got to be Fernando Mendoza. I think from what you get out of Mendoza, it's not a sure thing at all. There's still a lot of volatility when you're drafting Fernando Mendoza, #1 overall in this class. And I do believe Vegas still needs another pass catcher, another offensive lineman or two to have a good infrastructure around him going forward. But he's got a playmaking, dynamic running back in Ashton Genty. He's got an offensive mind head coach in Clint Kubiak. He's got an elite tight end target in Brock Bowers. He's got some good offensive linemen, Colton Miller, Jackson Powers Johnson, Tyler Linderbaum, that you can work with in Vegas. They add maybe another one or two going forward. I don't know if I love Jalen Naylor, Dante Thornton, Jack Besh, Trey Tucker as the receivers. Like maybe they target somebody on day 2. Either way, you're taking Fernando Mendoza with the #1 pick. I do like him ahead of Ty Simpson, who I do believe we will see go in my mock draft here too. You could go with a bunch of different options, and I do feel like 2026, I know Jets don't want to hear it, it's still like another developmental year. You're not going to, I think, be super competitive with Geno Smith, but you do have the foundation, I would say, if you use this year correctly as a developmental year for 2027. Garrett Wilson is still going to be in the prime of his career. You're going to be maybe with or without Breece Hall. You're going to have 2 stud offensive tackles with Olufashinu and Armand Membu. The defense is going to get better throughout this offseason and next year. We're still TBD on like what Arvell Reese's position is going to be at his peak. Is he going to be an off-ball linebacker? Is he going to be a pure edge rusher? I do think there is development, or there's a developmental path for him to become a really good edge rusher in this league. And I feel like when you're looking at the floor and ceiling, I like Reese more than Bailey and Ruben Bain to select him at #2. The Jets could use a whole lot. You're not taking Jamad McCoy at 2. You're not taking Mansour Delane at 2. You're not taking Caleb Downs at 2. But I do think Reese can now be the focal point of this defense moving forward. Quinnen Williams is gone. Sauce Gardner is gone. It's Reese. It's whoever you had in this draft as well. Maybe there's a Will McDonald bounce back next year. You traded for Tavondre Sweat this offseason. There's still some good pieces on the defensive side of the field. And I think this helps out Aaron Glenn a little bit because I don't know if he's going to be back next year. Now, for the Arizona Cardinals, this could be Ty Simpson. I would not take him here at 3. It kind of sounds crazy, and if they did it, I would be very shocked. Or, yeah, I would be very surprised. Sonny Styles is also like another guy I'm intrigued about at #3, and David Bailey as well. But I would go Francis Maianoa. I know it's not a sexy pick, and I know it's not like the biggest position of need for this team, but you're kind of doing what the Jets are doing, right? Which I guess isn't always a good thing, but you have now Paris Johnson and Francis Maianoa as your tackles for your next quarterback. That could be Ty Simpson in a trade up. Who knows? Maybe I end up doing that. That could end up being Ty Simpson on day 2. That could be the quarterback in 2027. Build the offensive line infrastructure right now, and then you can now put these pieces to hopefully have a really good peak when you find that quarterback, or at least you take a chance on that quarterback down the line. At least you're protecting Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew with this pick. Like I said, not a flashy pick. Maybe this is a trade down team, kind of like the Paris Johnson draft as well, where they could trade down and still get Maianoa, maybe at pick 6 or 7 or something like that. I'm going to have him go 3. Now, for the Titans here at 4, Jeremiah Love, yeah, I would like that a lot, but I'm also not an advocate for taking a running back this high, especially when you have so many other needs on your roster right now. So for the Tennessee Titans, there's 2 guys I like here. Carnell Tate, because I still think this team needs a wide receiver 1. I know you paid Wan'Dale Robinson a lot of money. I mean, Calvin Ridley, I believe, is still on the roster. I'm not really thinking about him in the long-term plans. You have Alec Ironmaner. You have Tremere DK. Fine options. Daniel Bellinger. Fine options. None of those guys are like a true wide receiver 1. Carnell Tate could be that guy for you. I think Jordan Tyson could be that guy for you as well. But this defensive line needs to get better going forward. And I'm going to have them select David Bailey with the 4th overall pick, because now he's going to be on that defensive line with Jermaine Johnson and obviously Jeffrey Simmons. You pick up Bailey for Robert Saleh, the new head coach's defense going forward, and they just need these blue chip edge rushers and defensive playmakers, because this defense has been one of the worst units in the NFL over the last few years. With Maya Noah off the board, you're not taking him there at 4. I know they've invested in offensive tackle highly in the draft over the last few years, but you can take David Bailey with the 4th overall pick, and now you actually have maybe double-digit sack guy for the next 5+ years or 10+ years whenever we get the peak of his career. So we're on the clock with the Giants at number 5. They've also been linked to Jeremiah Love. I would not do this. I would actually take like Francis Maianoa if he was on the board, keep protecting Jackson Dart. There's 2 guys I like here, both from Ohio State. It's either Carnell Tate or it's Sonny Styles. So they cut Bobby Okereke this offseason. They pick up Tremaine Edmonds. Dexter Lawrence has just requested a trade. I have no idea if that's going to come to fruition. Maybe they do trade Lawrence, and you're not taking a D tackle here at number 5, but maybe the Giants do get another 1st-round pick. You could definitely net a 1st-round pick, I think, for Dexter Lawrence going forward. I mean, the Jets netted one from Quinnen Williams, and Lawrence is better than Quinnen Williams right now. So there's 2 guys, like I said, Sonny Styles or Carnell Tate. I think for the Giants, though, you can rely on Malik Neighbors as your wide receiver 1. They didn't really add as a wide receiver 2 team, but this is a little bit of a deeper wide receiver class. I mean, maybe you like Josiah Trotter, maybe you like Kyle Lewis, Anthony Hill, some of these guys that you can get maybe early day 3, then Sonny Styles, but I'm just a little skeptical about like the Isaiah Simmons comp, right? Like, what is his position going to be? Is he going to be not like a safety, but is he going to be a linebacker? Is he going to be strong enough, quick enough at the NFL level, technical enough? I believe so. This guy's he's a freak athlete, right? So I'm going to go with him, number 5 here to the Giants, with or without Dexter Lawrence. You have him, you have Tremaine Edmonds, and honestly, like, linebackers for the Giants have been a weak spot for them over the last few years. So you pick up Sonny Styles, you don't worry about that going forward. I mean, this is a fun defense now. If you keep Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, year 2 Abdul Carter, Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo, like, they've invested in the secondary. I would like for them to also snag another guy in the corner, like in the secondary, but you're not taking, I don't think, Mansour Delane. Maybe you take Caleb Downs. On the clock here with the Browns at number 6. I know it's very popular to go offensive tackle. Spencer Fanow or Monroe Freeling has been a popular pick here. I don't think so. I would actually have them take, I like wide receiver. And if Carnell Tate is on the board, I'm going to have Carnell Tate go to the Cleveland Browns here at number 6. I think he can go 4, he can go 5, and he can definitely go 6. I'm not really expecting Jerry Jeudy or Cedric Tillman to be like the number 1s on this team in 3 years when, like I was saying about the Cardinals, you have your franchise quarterback. He needs somebody to throw to. You're set with Harold Fannin. As long as Quinshon Judkins is fine post-injury, you're fine with your running back. Go out and get Carnell Tate. And now you have another Ohio State playmaker with him and Quinshon Judkins going forward. I think there's extreme value to Tate at number 6. Maybe you can think that you can get Jordan Tyson or Denzel Boston or somebody like that at 24, sure. But I think I'd rather go for like Blake Miller at 24 or something like that, or Monroe Freeling if he's there at 24, Spencer Fanow, Caleb Lomu, and you invest in Tate at number 6. I would love Tate to Washington at number 7. This team needs another wide receiver with Terry McLaurin getting up there in age. So I could definitely see Tyson and Lemon, but I think this team, it needs 2 things in my opinion. Like, if I'm the GM here, I'm looking at Jordan Love, excuse me. I'm looking at Jeremiah Love, and I'm looking at Caleb Downs. Like, those are the 2 guys that I would target here at number 7 with Washington. And I feel like you can make an argument like running back could be more valuable than a safety at the moment. I'm going to go Jeremiah Love because I do think he has like a potential chance to be a top 5 running back in the league next year. You're pairing up Jaden Daniels, a dynamic quarterback, with a dynamic running back, both on their rookie contracts. This is maybe one of the quickest running back quarterback duos in the NFL. And it's a new offensive scheme here in Washington. And we kind of need to take home run swings with this team. Jeremiah Love is definitely a home run swing. It's not the worst offensive line. It's not the best offensive line. But I do think having to like respect Jaden Daniels as a runner, and then you also have to worry about Jeremiah Love. We're kind of making the Baltimore Ravens 2.0 over here with Lamar and Derrick Henry to Jeremiah Love and Jaden Daniels. And that leaves the New Orleans Saints here at number 8. I mean, Ruben Bain could make a lot of sense. Caleb Downs, like, why not? The value is there. Sonny Styles, if he was on the board, but he is not since he went number 5 to the Giants. You can look at Mansour Delane. You can look at Jermod McCoy as well. I need this team to add a wide receiver opposite of like Chris Olave. I can't watch Devon Vele as the wide receiver 2, excuse me, for Tyler Shuck next year. So I'm going to have Mekhi Lemon go to the Saints here at number 8. I just think his role and his fit is a little bit less redundant of Olave, and I feel like you're going to use Tyson at wide. You can throw Lemon in the slot a little bit more as well. Like last year, he played a ton in the slot at USC. He won the Blitnikoff Award. You're going to get Shuck another option there. And they just need another pass catcher. I don't think you're going to take Kenyon Sadiq this high. And it really comes down to like Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson. I kind of like Tyson more, but stylistically, I like Lemon better in the Saints offense under Kellen Moore. Chiefs at number 9. There's 2 guys here, Ruben Bain or Caleb Downs. You really can't go wrong. I mean, this is like a Chiefs and Bengals fans like dream on how this draft shaped out, because you have Bain, Downs, Delane still on the board. I mean, Miami Dolphins fans should be happy about this as well. I'm going to get an edge rusher in Kansas City. I totally see the need for wide receiver. I see the need for Caleb Downs if you want to go him. But Ruben Bain was talked about going number 1 like all regular season long. Obviously, his arm length did not do him any favors at the combine with his measurements. But this guy's going to be so productive at the NFL level. Maybe this makes Karlaftis better. Maybe this gives a little bit of a jump and a jolt to Chris Jones on that defensive line, because they need to generate pressures way better than they did last year. Number 10, Cincinnati. This is either Caleb Downs or Mansour Delane. You can't really go wrong with either one. Let's go get Caleb Downs. Let's get the next Jesse Bates here in Cincy. I know they signed a safety this offseason. Play them both out there. They need to just address defense going forward. And if Downs was off the board, it would be Mansour Delane for me, in my opinion. I don't think you're taking Vega Ione this high. Maybe you like Spencer Fano a ton to bump him inside, but Caleb Downs is such a safe prospect in this draft. And I alluded to it earlier. I'm going Mansour Delane for the Dolphins at number 11. Just look at their cornerback room. Just look, like, Google their depth chart and read out the cornerbacks to you. And how can you say they do not need a high-end corner in this draft? You're getting the CB1, in my opinion. I don't think you can go wrong with Delane or Jamad McCoy, because McCoy looked great at his pro day as well, which is definitely a great sign given how, like he hasn't played in like almost a year and a half, and you're kind of worried about him going forward in terms of the health. But now you have Mansour Delane, at least for Miami here. You get that DB, and you also have another first-round pick that we'll get to at number 30. So we're on the clock here with the Dallas Cowboys at 12. Couple different guys they can end up going with. You can look at Jamad McCoy. You could look at Dylan Thieneman if they want to go maybe somebody in the secondary. How much do you like CJ Allen? Like, would you reach on him here at number 12? I think there's a bunch of different guys. I do wonder who the first interior defensive lineman will be. Will it be McDonald? Will it be Banks? Will it be Peter Woods maybe? And I want to get another safety here in Dallas. Maybe you end up looking at one at number 20, but let's go into the secondary and let's take Dylan Thieneman at number 12. Like, one of the best athletes in this class, was a super productive player last year at Oregon. I think a very safe prospect for you as well. I just think like Downs and Thieneman are such like safety prospects here, and you can't go wrong with either one. On the clock here, 13 with the Los Angeles Rams. Man, there's a couple guys I would really like here. Do you even think about Ty Simpson if you like him enough? I don't think I would take him there from the Rams, especially if you think you have at least one more year after this year of Matthew Stafford. There's definitely like a Monroe Freeling pick. There's definitely a Jordan Tyson pick here as well. I go back and forth between Monroe Freeling and Jordan Tyson for this team. And it's so hard to like not take the shiny new toy of Jordan Tyson, who eventually would replace Devontae Adams when he is no longer on this team anymore. But we got to protect Matthew Stafford going forward. They address secondary with Trent McDuffie, with Jalen Watson. I'm going to have them go Monroe Freeling at 13. Ravens here at 14. They got to love the way that this draft fell as well, because there's 2 guys that I like. Vega Ione is one of them. Jordan Tyson is another one. Oh, man. This one is tough because I think both options are great here for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to have them go Jordan Tyson, though. I think they need another weapon for Lamar Jackson. It's going to be the first year with Declan Doyle, first year with Jesse Minter. You need somebody that you could play out wide. You're not really going to line him up in the slot too much, but I think you can have some creative formations with Bateman, Tyson, and Zay Flowers for you next year. And Tyson can legitimately be a wide receiver 1. And I do think all 3 of these receivers are talented enough to go in the first half of the first round. Don't overthink it. I think there's a little bit of prospect fatigue with Jordan Tyson, but I do believe he could be the best wide receiver in this class. So 15, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could try to go with edge rusher here, which is such a big need for this team. And I know Akeem Mesidor is on the older side. We just have to figure out, like, is this team ready to win? Like, do they want to continue to win now? Or is this kind of like a figure it out period? Do you go Spencer Fano? You bump him inside to the interior offensive line? Do you go Vega Ione, who's going to be a super safe prospect on the board right now? And I'm going to have them go edge rusher. Hildrick Falk is a little bit more of like a long-term play, and Mesidor is going to help you out a ton right now. But I do think Mesidor is good enough to help Tampa Bay still win the division for the next few years, because the division is wide open. I don't know if Atlanta is going to have a dynasty looming in the division, or Carolina. I still have questions about them. And I want to think that New Orleans can win the division next year, and they definitely can, but it's definitely not like super unrealistic for the Bucs to not win the division the next 2 years. Like, it's definitely possible. Go out, get a Akeem Mesidor, but Vega Ione, CJ Allen, even Kenyon Sadiq could make sense for them. For the Jets here, Ty Simpson, I would think about it, but I'm going to end up going Jamad McCoy here. I don't think McCoy falls past 16 to the Jets. He definitely doesn't fall past 18 to the Vikings. And I do think he can go as high as number 9 to the Chiefs if they really like him, or he can go 8 to the Saints if they really like him in their war rooms. But the Jets are going to get Arvell Reese and Jamad McCoy. Foundational building blocks on the defensive side of the field, which I really like going forward. That's the pick from the Sauce Gardner trade. 17 Lions, easy pick here for me. It's going to be Spencer Fano. Play him at tackle, play him at guard. Either way, you have a desperate need for somebody on the offensive line to give room for Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs and newly acquired Isaiah Pacheco. But this offensive line has had a lot of turnover with guys getting older and injured over the last few years. Get Fano, opposite side of Penei Sewell. 18, Minnesota. Couple of different guys they can end up going with here. I like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren as like a little bit of a chess piece for this team, but I also like the idea of Caden McDonald for this team as well, because they whiffed on maybe their interior defensive lineman signings last offseason. And I know it's not a fun pick here, but I think I am going to go Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I don't hate the idea of Kenyon Sadiq. They got only like, do you want to continue to protect Kyler Murray? Well, continue, but start to protect Kyler Murray. Could definitely see the vision in that. I'm going to go Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Maybe I just have a soft spot for the safety class, but I do think McNeil-Warren, Dylan Thieneman, and Caleb Downs could all be top 20 picks in this class. Easy pick for me here for the Carolina Panthers, and that is going to be Kenyon Sadiq. Kenyon Sadiq, he can play out wide. He's going to be a great receiving tight end. He's an above-average blocker, and you're giving another pass target for Bryce Young next year. You're going to have Jalen Coker. You're going to have Ted McMillan. You're going to have maybe Chuba Hubbard as like the guy for you next year. And now Kenyon Sadiq is just another weapon for Bryce Young going forward and could really open up the passing attack for Dave Canales in Carolina. 20, we have the Dallas Cowboys. We took Dylan Thieneman at number 12. I think this could be edge rusher. I think this could also be like CJ Allen. You get somebody that could be the quarterback of the defense right away. And that's who I'm going to have for Dallas here at number 20. It's not like maybe the greatest fits in the world. Like, yes, I would like Mansour Delane to Dallas at number 12, but he was off the board. Same with Caleb Downs, same with Ruben Bain, but all those guys were off the board. So you could maybe go like the Akeem Mesidor, Keldrick Folk route at number 12, and you could end up with a different, or I guess at number 12, you can go, yeah, and then you can go maybe if McNeil-Warren or Thieneman falls there at number 20. For the Steelers at 21, like as a Steelers fan, do I talk myself into Ty Simpson? I kind of want to, but Vega Ione's looking at me as well, where it's like, once again, not the flashiest pick in the world, but you'd have Vega Ione, you'd have Troy Fatanu, you'd have Zach Frazier. Like you have foundational building blocks on that offensive line moving forward, which is just like a necessity in this league. It really is. I don't think you're going to take Blake Miller here, but you could if you're completely out on Broderick Jones, which I get. You definitely could be. I think I'm going to go Ty Simpson for my Steelers here at 21. I don't know if this is Kenny Pickett 2.0. They passed up on Jackson Dart last year. It's not super unrealistic to say Simpson could be better than Jackson Dart, because it wasn't too long ago we were questioning heavily if Jackson Dart should even be a first round pick, and people weren't like enamored by it when the Giants traded up for him. So I'm going to have Ty Simpson to the Steelers. It makes me feel better about it with Mike McCarthy as the head coach. If it was Mike Tomlin still and it was Arthur Smith running the show, I would hate this. But since it's Mike McCarthy, who I trust a little bit more to develop Ty Simpson, and if you think there's a 20% chance, maybe 10% chance he could be your franchise quarterback, I think you have to take it. Chargers fans should be thrilled about this. Big Ione to them at 22. I think his ceiling, like being drafted, could be like 11 to Miami, like kind of in that Tyler Booker, Kelvin Banks range last year. This has got to be the absolute floor for him at 22, and Chargers fans should be happy. I don't know if he falls that far on draft night. Eagles here at 23. I see the vision for Keldrick Folk. I see the vision for Blake Miller, Caden Proctor, one of the offensive linemen, maybe Caleb Lomu as well. And I think I'm going to have them go offensive tackle. I'm going to have them go Caden Proctor here. I feel like Howie Roseman's going to like the traits of him coming out of Alabama. We're on the clock here, 24 with the Browns, who I ended up taking Carnell Tate earlier. So I think this has to be an offensive tackle. You're looking at Blake Miller. I think Caleb Lomu could be in contention here. Gonna go Blake Miller. I think they got to at least draft one offensive lineman with one of their 2 first-round picks. So 25 here for the Bears. I like Keldrick Folk. I think this is going to be Caden McDonald written all over it. I think he's going to be the first interior defensive lineman off the board. 26, we have the Buffalo Bills. They trade for DJ Moore. I think Casey Concepcion fits this team very well. I don't know if they're going to take... They could look at Peter Woods here. I know it's not a flashy pick either, but if you're not like super scared off the medicals of Caleb Banks, I like that as well for this team. I'm going to have Peter Woods go to the Bills, but I've mocked Casey Concepcion. It would be one of those two guys. 27 for the Niners. Another team that could look at offensive tackle for sure. Caleb Womu's still on the board, who I would think about here. But the upside of Keldrick Falk interests me. They had Bryce Huff retire this offseason. They get Nick Bosa back healthy. They trade for Oso Odigizua. They don't really sign an edge rusher either. So that's going to be Keldrick Falk for me at 27. On the clock here with the Texans at 28. Do you feel like this is just like an interior offensive lineman? Do you feel like this is going to be an interior defensive lineman as well? I mean, Caleb Banks on this team is so scary. It's just like, will he be able to stay healthy for you? But I think I might just go offensive tackle. They trade away Titus Howard this offseason. I'm going to add Caleb Womu to this team. And I do wonder if tackle would be like his end position at the NFL level. 29 here with the Chiefs. So at number 9, we snagged Ruben Bain. I like Denzel Boston. I like Omar Cooper. I like KC Concepcion. Cooper intrigues me about so much. It looks like Rashee Rice might not get suspended. I feel like Boston and Cooper, just two guys you could throw a wide. I just wish, I mean, I guess Cooper's more of a slot guy, than a wide out, but just wish he was a little bit more productive last year with Fernando Mendoza, but I guess you could say the same about Denzel Boston and Washington. I'm going to go Omar Cooper to the Chiefs at 29, and now you're getting Mahomes, another pass catcher. Can totally see the vision of Avion Terrell or Colton Hood. I know Terrell just had an injury. So with the Dolphins here at 30, we ended up going Mansour Dwayne at 11. They traded away Jalen Waddle this offseason. Bang, Denzel Boston for them at 30. You're basically getting a cheaper Jalen Waddle, theoretically, if it works out for you, if it's going to be Malik Willis throwing it to you, or it's more so the 2027 QB. 31 here for the Patriots. I think they can also look at offensive tackle Maxi Hanicher here out of Arizona State. Pass protection schemes, and I think they could look to, I don't know if they're going to ever move Will Campbell to guard. I guess that could also affect what I think they should do. And then 32 here for the Seahawks. Cassius Howell still on the board. TJ Parker, like a lot of talented guys are going to come in there to day number 2, but I would end up going Avion Terrell. But you got to be thrilled if you are like the Raiders, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, like you're able to add another edge rusher. Like, what if the Jets add Cassius Howell early in the second round? You could have TJ Parker go to the Titans and they double up on edge rushers. Like, why not? You could have Colton Hood go to the Giants early in the second round. But for the Seahawks, it's easily going to be Avion Terrell. I think he should still be a first round corner, but we'll see if the injury knocks him down a little bit more as well. So that is going to be like my GM mock draft. It's fun to think about like what you would do if you were on the clock. It's going to be fun to look back at these mock drafts after this season and just see kind of what went right, what went wrong, which is also going to be my next video as well. Somewhat, it's going to be me reacting to my 2025 NFL draft grades. That should be out later this week as well. So make sure you're subscribed for that. Hope you guys did enjoy. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.